There is an indefinable, mysterious power that pervades everything.
That power that can make a way out of no way.
Today, in the world, there's so much suffering because of that one of prayer.
Welcome everybody to the Prayer Revolution. So glad you're here. My name is Doyal. I'm here with my good friend and co-host Vira, and this is your daily prayer podcast. We say a morning prayer each day, and then we discuss that mood of prayer in our daily lives. We say a prayer and take it from there. That's our motto. And today is episode 98. 98, which we are approaching our 100 episode countdown in 3 days. And after we hit episode 100 on Thursday, July 2nd, we're gonna pause our podcast, but we're not gonna pause the prayers. Keep praying out there, everybody. Otherwise, this will all have been a failure. I'm just joking. But that's where we're at today. And how are you, Vera?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm excited to pray with you guys and to share, have a conversation. And yeah, so I remember last time that you asked me that and I went into a tangent. We didn't pray till the end of the podcast, so I'm holding my tongue.
Tangent me off, Vera.
I'm holding my tongue.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm grateful, super grateful to be here, and excited to pray. Grateful to be able to come together in Sangha, be able to put God in the center of our life, and to hopefully keep it that way, to start the day like that, and to be able to check in, again and again and again and again throughout our days, throughout our lives, to keep on just sitting down and being with God, no matter what's going on, whether we're getting happy, we're getting sad, whatever's happening, that we just invite God in, we pause, we take that time to invite him in. And it seems sometimes like, oh God, that's just like so, ethereal, and like, what's that really going to do practically, and that every time we do it, we're going to experience the transformation every single time that we're going, whatever it is we're going through in life. And we say, you know what, actually, I think I'm the doer, I'm the controller, but you know what, I'm going to pause right now, and I'm going to surrender to a higher power. That just, it takes our entire experience of life to the next level. It empowers us, where does enthusiasm, where does empowerment, where does, being inspired, where does that all come from? That comes from spirit, it comes from God. All the etymology, the roots of those words, it's coming from a connection with God within. And so that is, that's what we got to do every morning. And then just as a little reminder for us to be able to check back in again and again throughout our days. And it's profound. It's so simple and subtle, and almost like it seems like nothing's happening. And then, it's like you close your eyes, pray for a few minutes, open them up, and it's like all of a sudden life's different. There's a different experience. There's a richness, there's an ease. I'm just reminded of a verse in the beautiful scripture, Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's about the life of Sri Chaitanya, that when one remembers, when one remembers Lord Chaitanya, when one remembers the Lord, that very difficult things become easy. And when one forgets the Lord, that, the most simplest things in life, oh my God, they start to become just like so difficult, so unbearable, so challenging. So that's what we're bringing in. Grateful to start my day with you guys.
Sounds beautiful.
So all right.
Okay. Let's walk the walk here.
Let's walk the walk. So putting on my next Garth Stevenson track for you guys.
Garth Brooks.
Let's get you guys to close your eyes and start connecting to your breath. Connect to those nice, beautiful, deep inhales and exhales. Remembering there's nowhere that you have to be, but right here in this moment. This is a special gift you're giving to yourself. It's a gift that is free of charge. The currency for this gift is our sincerity. It's our desire to reconnect. And I know all of you have that in abundance within your hearts. And giving ourselves to this moment, giving ourselves to the inward and outward breath, giving ourselves time to recenter. setting your intention for what it is that you're desiring in your life. You're desiring more than anything else. Give me space to let it come back to the front, in the center of your consciousness. My dear Lord, I've walked around in this world with a thorn in my heart. I've tried to do so many things to avoid touching that thorn, avoid that discomfort, that pain. I've done so much to create protection and to avoid situations and people and experiences that lead me to feel that pain inside of my heart. I want to live a life that is fearless. And I know that you're the bestower. You open the doorway for me to experience a life of fearlessness. That instead of trying to protect myself from feeling pain, that I can open myself up, that I can allow myself to feel, that I can live my life fully, experiencing whatever pleasures and pains may come, allowing them to move through me while my consciousness remains at your lotus feet. Instead of trying to protect myself from feeling this thorn, my Lord, please give me the courage to feel that pain, to go to that place within my heart, and to know that as I walk through that door, that the light will shine. The fear that I have, that darkness will consume me, it's a fear that doesn't exist. It's not true. Truth is that anywhere that I walk with you, the light will shine, will illuminate, will heal, will empower. Give us the courage, my Lord, instead of trying to protect ourselves from feeling, to allow ourselves to feel. And through feeling, whatever those sensations are, whatever comes our way, whatever you bring, whatever gift that comes through your will in our life, to allow us to be completely present with it. And by being present, by allowing ourselves to experience those experiences fully without judging them, without avoiding them, without trying to hide from them, without being afraid of them, that healing will come. That thorn that I walk around in my heart, and walk around, affects every aspect of my life. That thorn will be removed. And I will be free. And I will experience your love and your grace in every moment of my life. And that we will be able to, with courage, we'll be able to heal. My Lord, I pray this for the world. I pray this for all of us listening today, and any person that listens in the future, and any person that they're connected to and that they're connected to, every person on the planet, to take this time to pause and to be with themselves, to let your love, to let your presence transform all of our hearts. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
You do it every.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like the whole episode could have just been a prayer.
I gotta put the song on repeat.
It's like a 10-minute song. We ran out of time.
Yeah.
So tell me, Vera, what's on your heart?
Tell me, baby.
Tell me.
Yeah, what's on my heart is, just that there's a choice, there's a choice that each of us make in our life, that we either buffer all of the pain that we may carry in our heart, whether that's acute or that's, really intense, and it manifests in the form of anxieties or fears, or can manifest in so many different ways, but it's really suffering, and all the different ways that we could suffer, that either we walk around life, trying to buffer that and trying to compensate for it and trying to protect it, and, really facilitating it, putting ourselves around people that, say that suffering is loneliness, that we put ourselves around people that, we kind of that, we don't feel lonely when we're around them, but in the moment that we're with ourselves again, it's like that loneliness is still there. It's that thorn in the heart that's with us no matter what. And that it's a choice, that each and every one of us, that we have the power when we're, submitting ourselves to God, to our higher power. We have the ability to be able to remove that thorn. And it's really a choice, right? It's either I'm choosing to live my life with that thorn in my heart. And so then therefore, I'm trying to control everything else around me so I don't have to feel it as much as possible. I don't have to feel it, or I can numb myself or distract myself, whatever it may be. Or, we just say, hey, you know what? I got a thorn in my heart. And I want to actually invest the time and energy to go within and to actually to feel whatever that pain is, whatever that suffering, whatever that challenge, whatever that is, whatever that's sitting inside of our heart, that tension, that fear, that pain, to actually go there, to go there with God, to go in with that torchlight of knowledge, the torchlight of faith, to go into those recesses of our heart and to allow them to be illuminated, allow them to be felt. And so then that thorn, as we feel those sensations like a vibration, as we bring consciousness into those sensations like a vibration, that wiggles that thorn out, The sound vibration of God's holy name is a vibration, right? It's subtle. We don't feel it shake in our body, but when you read about the great, devotees, the pure devotees of God, you see that they tremble in ecstasy, their body is vibrating in ecstasy. The heart is vibrating. We felt, when the fluttering of our heart, when it's vibrating, when we feel afraid, or when we feel, excitement, or the potential for, meeting with a lover, there's so much sensation that comes. And so same way that we can actually give ourselves that space. And something that I really have been not so good at in my life, to actually sit down and really be with those feelings. It generally takes somebody to facilitate it. It's generally a friend or a coach, like that. That's like, hey, you're feeling something there, Vera. Let's not bypass that too quick. What's going on, bud? I'm like, I'm feeling something, I'm so quick to just jump past it, or do something or intellectualize it. The power that God is bringing into our life through these different experiences, when we're actually, we trust and we're able to sit with them without fear, that we know that somehow God's will is unfolding, so we can trust the sadness is not here to hurt us, that the pain is not here to hurt us, that it's actually, by feeling it, it's here to heal us. It's here to bring us into a deeper union with God, a deeper rapture of feeling, of presence in our life, to experience God's grace. And so something that I haven't been so good at, and I was, over the last few days, I had a powerful session with a coach on Friday, and a lot of feeling came up, a lot from my past, that I've kind of learned at a certain point to just really just kind of not feel, just like learn to kind of be like very stoic and just like, all right, like that's happening, but like I respond with integrity, like this kind of energy. And I've done that for a long time in my life. And as I started to really feel what was going on inside, what I carry around every single day of my life, it was, there was so much pain inside. There was so much tension, sadness, and it's just life's experiences built up. Just life's experiences undigested and built up. And when I felt them, when I gave myself the space to actually be there and then to process in a safe environment, it's the most healing, most liberating experience. So liberating, so powerful and transformative. And so then now when those feelings come up, the feeling of sadness, in the past I would be afraid of feeling it, and kind of try to bypass it. And now I'm just like, okay, well, I'm feeling something. Let me sit down, let me sit down and breathe and be with myself. If I can't be with myself, how can I actually be with anybody? Like it's only like a half of me showing up to everything. And granted, the half of me has done a pretty good job. I feel like that. I've done a pretty good job in my life. But there's just so much more, there's so much more potential. And so that's a practice, of really, instead of that thorn being something that I buffer and like, I'm always kind of like trying to like look forward to the next thing in life, and like, just like this anxiety actually that's underneath the surface. It's like, this fear and anxiety that's moving me, actually to sit down and be with those feelings, be with those experiences, trusting that God's bringing them into my life. And I'm noticing, like there's so much more wholeness. There's so much more of me that's available for the next moment in life and the next experience in life. And so that's something that, it's not, I don't think something we can rush, or that, is even meant to be on a timeline, but it's something that I'm finding that actually is so much more practical and simple than I ever imagined or thought, but really just takes that awareness and actually takes like, okay, like, not being afraid of feeling, and giving ourselves the space to actually sit down and to be with what God is giving us. There's an experience that God is bringing to every single one of us every day of our life. That's God's will. And whether it's in sadness or it's in anger or it's in fear, whatever it may be in, that sitting down and being with it and having faith in God, and being with it is so powerful and so transformative. And the other option is that we are afraid of it, right? The other option is like, there's a thorn inside. We all have got the thorn inside. I love you guys. We all got the little thorns in there from the rose bushes that we bumped up against throughout life. And they had beautiful, fragrant, soft petals, but they also had some sharp thorns, different experiences we've been through. So we all have those thorns. And one option is to really, to feel them, to trust, and to be with God, and giving ourselves a little space, a little time to sit down and be with ourselves. Or the other is that we're compensating. Everything in life becomes more or less like an act of not feeling what's actually going on inside. So we all have that choice, and that we all have that option. And I'm just, like, I got a thorn in my heart. Like, I'm like, okay, like, I'm not gonna, like I got a thorn in my heart, guys. Love you. Like, it's just what it is. And instead of trying to avoid it, I'm gonna actually, make a real conscious, conscious practice to go be with it, and to allow for it to eventually to heal and to release fully from my heart.
Yeah. It reminded me of Trevor Hall, who wrote, "You can't rush your healing. Darkness has its teaching."
Mm-hmm.
Love is never leaving. You can never rush your healing. And I was hearing that it's like, oh wow, let me sit with this. So it's very, very beautiful. Aditi G. Martha wrote, "Roses usually come by the dozen." Aditi was asking you, Vira, how is a coach different from a guru?
Well, I think in a lot of ways that really it started with how I found them was that about a year ago, it's kind of like, there's something going on inside, and I kind of had just like bypassed it. I was like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm an alcoholic. Like, I'm always going to be an alcoholic, like that toward my emotions. I'm always going to be an addict. I'm always going to have to, there's always going to be this real fine line that I've got to walk. Like, that's just all it is. Like, I'm either going to transcend it through spiritual life, or I'm going to just be, I'm going to be a mess, and then, I was like, okay, like, or maybe that's like a load of nonsense, like maybe that's just like me really just avoiding actually some important work that I need to do in order to love and to serve at a higher level and to connect and commune with God at a higher level. Maybe I'm just trying to spiritually bypass this or write myself off as like a hopeless kind of victim of some, emotional dysfunction. And so then I said at a certain point, I was like, wow, like that's kind of like, I don't believe that actually. No, I believe I can heal. I believe that I can actually address this and I can actually heal. I don't have to live my life, carrying around this burden, carrying around this pain in my heart. I don't have to live my life like that. And when I opened up to that, then I remembered a coach who I had met many years before, who lives in the same town that I'm in Florida right now. And we just had one connection, and I just was very, very impressed just by her presence. And, and Deanna knows her also, and she's known by many friends. She's helped a lot of people. And so then I remembered her and remember her organization. I reached out and I went in and received a sample coaching session from her because I wanted to take her coaching training. I wanted to, learn from her teachers. And so I started to take the coaching training. And then as I was taking the coaching training, I was like, I want to receive this work. I want to, the coaching training is powerful and receive a lot of coaching in that, but I want to receive the work also. It's time for that. It's time for that healing. And so then I signed up and started receiving coaching from her. And how is it different? I think that there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of overlaps. And I think coaches were always available. Look back more into like the, if we go back to more ancient times, we had pastors, we had priests, we always had the village elders, the medicine woman, the medicine, father, the gurus, the monks, they were always a part of society. And that there was a real privilege to being able to, provide that service. It was a natural, purpose-filled service for those individuals. It was their nature to be able to provide that type of guidance. And so it was something that was just a part of society. It was available. Everybody could have coaching. Everybody could have teachers. Everyone could have that type of guidance. When it comes to this type of work, when it comes to the internal universe, the internal world, and beginning to heal and beginning to reconnect to God, reconnect to ourselves spiritually, that was universally available. And nowadays, now that there's so much, there's been a lot of broken hearts through that system, right? It's been a lot of challenges with different teachers who, have a post and have a certain respect in society, but don't live their life in a way that actually is in integrity. And so then I think, a whole market for coaching came, in a way that's like, hey, is there some accreditation? Is there some training here? Is this person actually like able to, what makes somebody actually, suitable for holding space for another person? And so coaching in a lot of ways, and especially the way I'm receiving it right now, the person is also a Bhakti practitioner and is, lives her life in a lot of integrity with her spiritual values and practices. And so I really don't see much of a difference. It's kind of synonymous in this case, but they're all different types of coaches. And so it just depends. And that was the long answer, Aditi. So we all need it, it's something that's amazing. Whether it's, whether we check in once a month with somebody or whatever it is, we all need a space where we feel totally safe to reveal our mind and heart, to reveal the stuff that we're afraid to even admit to ourselves. We need that space. That's a space that that is the guru, right? The guru is the beautiful verse, Om Jnana Timirandasya. The guru illuminates that we're born in darkness, right? We're born in, and there's this tendency for this darkness to cover us over. And the guru is carrying a torchlight of knowledge, a torchlight of wisdom, a torchlight of truth, spiritual illumination. We all need guru in our life, not just somebody who we see once in a while or we connect to every now and then. We need somebody who's part of our life, that we can open our hearts to. And so that's what I pray, and I hope for all of us, we can have that safe space to let God into those, maybe some of the scarier parts of our own heart, the darker parts that we haven't opened the door to for a while, that we can have those guru figures, those mentor guide figures, that when we're with them, we feel safe to go there. And then God's light comes in. God's grace comes into all those nooks and crannies. Doyal, you got to share something.
Put me in, coach.
Put me in, coach. Yeah, I love this, Bryn. Yes, every coach needs a coach. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And Isabel, doing a life coaching certification. Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
So there was a lecture series I listened to a while back. Listened to a few times. It's called The Cure of Souls. It's about like the foundations of pastoral care in spiritual communities, and the speaker is talking about these various forms of pastoral care or counseling or therapy, and now we have a coaching has become very popular today as well. And so he was discussing these things, and he said people were asking about these different technicalities of names, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, yeah, a lot of ways it used to just be called friendship. And but then the idea of that we live in such an isolated world, and we live in such a judgmental environment, that trust has been broken so much with individuals that you have to pay somebody to just like listen to you in confidentiality and not judge you for it, and just kind of basically receive you, and like everything you're saying, Vira, it's this idea of like what's the task at hand is to just sit long enough and feel your feelings and let them pass, and learn to not become afraid of them, and to allow God to do that healing work within you. So it's like in some ways a coach is really, it's like a facilitator. It's like a guide. Like you end up doing the work at the end of the day, but you just need someone I'm saying you, like the general you, me, us, everyone needs almost kind of like someone to give permission, to give allowance, to give a little bit of a direction, like, no, don't do that, stay here, look at that more. And then to help us feel safe and confidence, along the way. And I think about like kind of like walking, like I think about this often. It's kind of a weird thought. Like if I'm walking on the sidewalk, right? If I'm just walking on the sidewalk, there's no fear that I'm going to fall off that sidewalk. Like I'm going to fall off the sidewalk and step onto the street. Like there's no, like I feel very confident that I could walk and stay within the bounds of the sidewalk. But if that same width of sidewalk was 10,000 feet up on the ledge of a cliff, I'd be terrified. I'd be totally terrified. The idea of falling off the side would just like engross me, and I'd probably fall because I'm just so mentally afraid of falling off. And so we function differently when we feel safe as opposed to when we feel the threat of danger. And having a person guide us in our life creates that feeling of safety that allows us to walk that path that we know we can easily do, but we don't, because there's these unconscious, or at one point we're very, very realistic, but now we're unrealistic, false fears that keep us from just doing something so simple. And so I think that, humanity said, it used to just be called friendship, but, and of course we need people who have walked along further than us. I mean, usually I love what Bryn mentions. Every coach needs a coach. It's like a person, has to empathy comes from a shared experience of the suffering that you're going through. So for me to understand what it means to be afraid of my inner self, and to have confronted that, walk through that, facilitates me allowing that to help it for you. Otherwise, somebody be like, this is what I'm going through. I'm going through this dark night of soul, and I'm really feeling these feelings that I'm worried about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the mentor, coach, counselor, therapist says, well, I really can't relate. I have no idea what you're talking about, but let's see if we can get through this together. It's like, that's not it's like somebody who really actually like, no, they may not say it so candidly for the sake, because it's not about them, it's about you.
But they're not afraid to go
they're not
there.
afraid to go there because they've been there.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, totally. It's beautiful. And I love the analogy, you're walking on this, living life in fear. And it's acute, right? If anyone here experiences some level of anxiety, nervousness, tension, whatever that is, okay, there's some level of fear that's being allowed to exist in our lives, in our consciousness, that what that it is, like Doyal, like you're saying, it's like, yeah, there's this fear that like something really bad could happen. Like I'm walking through life with that fear, and how that affects the way we see, the way we receive, the way that we share, it changes it, right? It starts to block us from actually being able to experience God's grace in our life in some way. And to be able to confront those fears, it's like I'm having this image because we walk on the sidewalk every day, practically with Vira, going on an evening walk. And it's like, like to walk, it's like, that's a cliff. And it's like you walk and you're like, that's dangerous. It's scary. And obviously you're like, oh, that's soft grass. Oh, that's not, I thought that was a cliff. And it's like, no, it's a field of blossoming flowers and sunshine and light and beauty and everything that we're seeking in our life, it's right there, and we can put up walls to not experience that darkness, right? Such an amazing thing. It's like, put up this wall. I don't want to experience that darkness. Like, don't go there. Don't open that door. Don't feel that. Put up this wall because it's dark on the other side. It's the exact opposite, right? It's like the wall that is stopping the light from shining in, and right when we let that wall down, right when we walk through that door, it's like the beaming rays of sunshine coming in, and yeah, so we have an opportunity for that. And if we're finding it challenging to be with ourselves, then that's when we receive support. Receive support from a trusted friend, and it can just be that. It can just be a trusted friend, like Doyal was saying. And if that's not available, it's always available when we desire it. It's always available when it's something that's really, truly, we're sincere that it's important to us. Krishna provides. He carries everything that we may seem to be lacking or not having in our life.
Yeah.
Provides that perfect experience for that healing to unfold.
Yeah, and I think that's what's a powerful point is that we're gonna wrap it up, but that there's so many stigmas against getting help. Talking to a friend, I don't have a problem with that. Talking to a friend, going to a therapist, oh, that's for crazy people. You know what I mean? Like, some people have to say, like, I was talking to my therapist the other day, and it's like, you have a therapist, and so or it's like, hey, counselor, but a therapist isn't as taboo. Like, it's a counselor. I was talking to a counselor because that's not. Or I was talking to a coach. You know what I mean? And so it's like we use these words. Some are more acceptable or comfortable than others, but it's the same person. I need help, and I'm going to somebody. Help me explore what's going on so I can get through it.
Yeah.
And we all need that, whether you're talking to a friend, whether you do it through watching the news, whether you do it through this or that. And so don't be afraid to get help. Sometimes it's the most foolish thing. Is to think you can do it. I remember I was watching, and we'll end here, but I think I've shared this before, but I remember it was a few years ago, I was reading about how Tiger Woods was getting a new golf coach. Like, he's got rid of his old golf coach they had for years, and he was getting a new golf coach. It was a few years ago. And I was like, what the hell does Tiger Woods need a golf coach for? Don't you get over that at some point, Like, who is better than a swing coach? I was like, who's better than this guy that's going to tell him how to swing golf club, you know? And but I was like, it's this guy. It's not that he needs to find a better golfer than him. He just needs someone to look at him and say, like, you know what, move your elbow a little bit that way. You know what I mean? Stand a little bit with your feet wide. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's like that guy recognized I want to get better, and I just need someone out other than myself looking at me and pointing things out. So we ain't no shame. We all need it.
Beautiful.
Alrighty, guys. Love you guys all so much. Thank you for being here. Thanks for staying with us over time. And we love you guys. We are here every day for the next 2 days.
And to be continued. There's definitely something brewing in my heart. I mean, to be together in this way and to share in this way, it's become a staple in my life, and is it's deeply nourishing. And so the next version, we've talked about different podcasts and different ways to keep sharing the same type of content in a way that is enriching, nourishing for all you guys. So it's in the works. And also I'm putting myself out there that I've been coaching for a while. And if any of you guys want to have a sample coaching session with me, that's something that I would love to offer you. And so if it's something that ever comes up where you're like, hey, yeah, I'd love to talk to Vira one-on-one and open up my heart, and that's something that you feel would be helpful for you, then reach out and let me know.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Haribo.